Good day, everybody. It's Master Yoda here, and hope you guys are all doing well. Title of today's video, it's going to be a reaction video. It's a reaction video to a PUA video on how to pick up a woman in a nightclub. This will be good. I'm doing a reaction video on the PUA scammer called Dan Bacon. Yeah, he's going to talk about how you supposedly pick up a woman in a nightclub. Yeah, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll let the video run and pause it and give my commentary. So without further ado, let's go.
Have you ever been interacting with a woman and you really liked her, but her friend got in the way of you and her getting together? Today's question is, so how do you deal with that friend? The woman that stops you from talking to a lady you're trying to initiate. She's not interested, creep, go away.
Well, if a woman thinks you're a creep and she wants you to go away, you go away. And the reason why she probably thinks you're a creep because you're just not good looking enough. Creep in woman speak simply means physically unattractive man, even if he doesn't behave in a creepy manner. Me personally, I was never into nightclubs. I hate dance music. I'm into rock and roll, mostly Australian pub rock. Angels, Midnight Oil, Radiators, Spy vs Spy, Choir Boys. But that's what I mainly saw. I was mainly into live rock music. I love guitar rock. I hate dance music actually. And I hate nightclubs. I think they're a waste of time. I think they're for losers. Yes, I never went to them. I did go to them a few times. I absolutely hated it. I did try to approach a few of them, but I got rejected, of course. But let's keep going.
That's not a very nice thing of the woman to say there, but I can tell you as someone who took new guys out into bars and clubs every weekend to meet women, that I never heard a woman say that because of the approach that I teach guys, which I'll tell you in a second. And I'll point out that the guys that I coached ranged from being very insecure and shy to being very confident and being below average looking to the point where they had some problems with their physical appearance to handsome and even very handsome. And
I could believe below average looking guys turn into a PUA scammer, but a good looking guy, why? Why would he need to go to a PUA? I mean, the genuinely good-looking guys, the Chads and Tyrones, they just put themselves out there. Women give them the choosing signals, and the rest is history. Why would they need to go to a PUA? That doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Anyway.
no women reacted with the old go away creep sort of line because the approach that I teach is not about going over and trying to pick a woman up. Like going over and trying to get a result, like I'm going to try to get this girl and coming across as a guy who's a quote-unquote pickup artist or a guy who's trying hard to pick up. Instead, what I've always taught is what the naturals do, which is they walk over and they interact with a woman in a social, easygoing.
He's just contradicted himself. He tells guys not to go up to him to pick her up, but then in the very next sentence, he tells to cold approach women, try and run game on them. He then talks about naturals. Yeah, well, who are the naturals? Well, they're the Chads. And they don't need to really run PUA BS on women. Once again, the Chads and the Tyrones of this world, they just put themselves out there. Women give them the choosing signals, and the rest is history. I mean, PUA is going to be pretty useless to an unattractive guy. Just on nightclubs, as we all know, the nightclub industry all around the world is in terminal decline. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I can tell you, if I go back, say, 40 years ago, which I know it's a long time ago, there was virtually a nightclub in every second suburb. Many of them were attached to pubs and clubs. The pubs and clubs are still there, but the nightclubs are gone. It's in Sydney. God, if you want to go to a nightclub, you pretty much got to go to the city, possibly King's Cross, but I think even a lot of nightclubs are gone from there. Yeah, so a lot of people blame the pandemic. No, I don't agree with that. Even if COVID didn't happen, the nightclub industry was in terminal decline. The pandemic just accelerated the process. It was already in terminal decline. I remember watching a really good English documentary. It was made in 2011. At its peak, the UK had 8,000 nightclubs. When this documentary was made, it was down to about 4,000. I imagine after the pandemic, it's even less. But even the pandemic didn't happen. It's in terminal decline, especially here in Australia. So even if this stuff work, this PUA game stuff worked, well, it doesn't. But even if it worked, what good is it going to be to you if you got nowhere to practice it? Like there's no nightclubs for you to practice this stuff. What use is it to you? But anyway, nightclubs are the most brutal environments to try and pick up women. They're sausage fests. You're competing a lot of better looking guys. They've always been a sausage fest. I can remember back in the 1980s. Once again, 40 years ago, men complained to me saying, "Oh, Master Yada, I went to this nightclub and it sucked." I asked, "Why did it suck?" Too many dudes, not enough women. They're a sausage fest. And it's always been hard to pick up in them, always. And that's why there's so much alcohol-related violence. You've got too many sexually thirsty men competing over too few women. And yeah, it's a brutal environment. And it's never been easy to pick up on a nightclub. Never been easy. And just on nightclubs, why would a woman go to a nightclub where she's going to be hit on by tons of ugly creeps, or creeps in her mind, when she can just jump on the smartphone and order a Chad or a Tyrone as easy as ordering a pizza and a bottle of Coke off a smartphone? But anyway, let's carry on.
Way, and at the same time they are displaying traits that trigger sexual and romantic attraction inside of the woman. So for
The only way you're going to trigger attraction to a woman is based on your looks, on your physical appearance.
example, rather than a guy walking over and trying to be really nice to women to hopefully get somewhere, or a guy being neutral and just getting along with women in a neutral, friendly way, what a natural who knows how to attract women will do is that he will go over and be getting along with the women, but he'll also display traits that trigger sexual attraction inside of them. So, for example,
Look, a Chad, all he's got to do is just put himself out there. The women will give him the choosing signals, and as long as he's not autistic, and as long as he knows how to read female body language, he just puts himself out there. Women give him the choosing signals, and the rest is history. He doesn't have to do all this PUA nonsense. Oh dear, these PUA scammers give the worst advice. Worst advice.
he will use what I call playfully challenging humor, and that is different to just using safe, friendly humor.
Playfully challenging humor, but also known as maxing.
Playfully challenging humor is where you playfully challenge the woman in the moment, and therefore she feels like she's under the spotlight of your attention. She's under a bit of pressure there, and it makes her feel girly and feminine in comparison to your masculinity in the moment. You have the confidence, the courage, or if you want to call it the balls, to put her under a little bit of pressure in the interaction, rather than just exchanging pleasantries and just trying to get along with her in a nice, neutral, friendly way. For example, last week, a member of my Master Attraction community went out to meet women. At the loud, noisy bar, a woman stepped on his foot, and rather than doing nothing or just giving her a polite nod of, hey, it's okay, he playfully challenged her by saying, do you usually step on hot guys' feet? Then, after a bit of chit-chat and her friends recognizing that he and her were flirting with each other and then getting out of the way, he kissed her within 5 minutes and had sex with her that night.
Look, assuming this story is true, and I have my doubts over it, he had to have been a very good-looking guy. I mean, to take a woman home from a nightclub, you got to be, very extremely good-looking, extremely good-looking. Pickup lines they don't work. They're not going to get a woman. They're not going to get a woman into bed with you. She has to be physically attracted to you. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is.
Prior to that, he'd never picked up a woman at a bar and brought her home, and had only been getting low-quality women from dating apps and through random social situations where he would get lucky. Yet, as he said, they were low-quality women, but as he said about this woman, she was hot as F. He then went out the second night and picked up another hot girl, and this has happened for another member as well, who went out 3 nights in a row and picked up and had sex with women 3 nights in a row.
The only guy that could achieve that, he'd have to be a Chad or a Giga Chad. No way an average or below average guy could do that. No way in hell. No way in hell. And how do you know what these guys is saying is true? A lot of men, try to hide their inkwell status, and they lie about their conquest, because, as we know, with men, they tend to overstate how many sexual conquests they have, and women tend to understate. Yes, and especially these PUA scammers, they think they're God's gift to women, but really most of them are just are inkwells. Look, most of these pickup artists, they'd be lucky to score a root in a brothel with a fistful of 50s. Yes, no, I mean, look, for a guy to pick up women 3 nights in a row, he'd have to be a Chad. No way an average guy could do it. No way in hell. So no, there's a bit of this story doesn't pass a smell test with me.
But back to this particular member, he said that a woman like her would have never swiped right on him on a dating app, but he had sex with her that night. And
yeah, this is once again, this is where the story doesn't pass the smell test. What difference does it make whether she sees you on a dating app or in person? She has to see what you look like. Yeah, you can't talk your way into a woman's pants. It's not going to happen. She has to find you physically attractive in order for there to be any chance of intimacy to occur between you and said woman.
and was just amazed with how easy it was. Now, back to his playfully challenging humor line, it's important for you to know that you don't actually have to say an exact line. Instead, the point is that you have to have the courage to playfully challenge the woman. That's what makes the difference.
He's pushing pickup lines here. This is the common thing that these PUA scammers try and push. The whole premise of PUA bullshit, and it is bullshit, is that if you can somehow press the right emotional buttons on a woman, that they will get it to overlook your physical shortcomings. You'll get it to sleep. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Pickup lines. And when you challenge these PUA scammers, you're just pushing pickup lines. They say, no, they're not. But then they do that. Problem with PUA is, apart from just telling outright lies, they like to talk out of both sides of their mouth. What I mean by that is they'll say one statement, but then they'll say something else. Or, they'll contradict themselves. They'll say, oh, no, we're not saying this, but then they go ahead and say it. Anyway.
So you compare that to a guy who's trying to pick up and get a result. He will walk over and he'll typically use lines such as, oh, hey, so how are you? You having a good night? Oh, what are you drinking there? And if he starts to talk to her, he'll try to show that he's a really good guy and he'd be good boyfriend material. He may even ask her what she looks for in a guy and then try to say that he has those qualities. Or he'll just have the energy where he's just trying to get something with the woman. He's trying to get a result. Additionally, he might also make the mistake, if she's with 2 or 3 women, of just ignoring her friends and just wanting to talk to her, right? And trying to hopefully get her away from her friends so he can get a result. And that then annoys her friends, compared to a guy who's naturally good with women, who can just be social and be talking to the other women and not be trying to get a result.
And which guys are naturally good with women? Your Chads. But then again, Chad wouldn't have to do all this bullshit. Once again, he just puts himself out there. Women are going to give him the choosing signal. They're going to invite him. That particular woman's going to invite the Chad to her. She's going to give him the choosing signals or the green light to do so. By her body language, she'll look over towards him. She'll smile at him, and obviously, she's assuming the Chad knows how to read body language. And most Chads do, unless they've got Asperger's, but most of them don't. You'll then read those choosing signals, and then you'll go over to the woman, and the rest is history. If you've got as a man, if you've got a cold approach women and run game, it's a wrap. It's over. I remember the rehab room on his previous channel, ITV or Inkwell TV. That's what he said. If you got to do all this PUA nonsense, it's a wrap, and the woman's not interested in you. You can't force attraction on a woman. You just can't do it if it's simply not there.
Result with any of them, but importantly, he'll be displaying traits that make women feel sexually and romantically attracted, and playfully challenging humor is one of the traits. Right? It's not something that a guy needs to do every time, all the time, in every minute of the interaction. Instead, he can display what I call masculine charm, and that's going to make all of the women feel attracted.
No, it's not. Just playfully challenging him. It's just a maxing. That's all it is. And you can't create attraction if it's simply not there. If she's not physically attracted to you, she won't be attracted to you.
Display assertiveness, but do it in a respectful or loving way, or just in an easygoing sort of way. and they're going to feel attracted to that. He can display and have what I call untamed energy, and that's automatically going to make the women feel attracted to him because
No, it's not. The only thing that's going to make a woman automatically attracted to you is your bloody looks.
most men are tame when they're around women that they find attractive. And a man who has untamed energy is so attractive to women because it suggests so many positive things about him, such as that he is not needy. He's not seeking their approval of, are these women showing me signs that I can be a little bit more like who I really am myself, and I can just be a little bit more untamed and I can say what I feel like saying? Or do I need to just keep being careful when I'm talking to these women? Right? It's very rare for women to come across men who are untamed. And by that, I don't mean reckless and doing bad things, silly things, irresponsible things. I mean your energy is untamed. They're not taming you in the moment. It's very difficult for women to.
The only energy women are attracted to is Chad energy. Yeah, that's the energy women are attracted to, Chad energy.
Come across men like that. And a man with untamed energy doesn't need to be going into an interaction with a woman and trying hard to get a result, because they're going to feel attracted to him. And what usually happens, if you're able to display multiple attractive traits, is that not only does the woman that you find attractive feel attracted to you, but her friends also feel attracted, which usually results in them competing amongst themselves to get to be with you. But
that's if you're a Chad. Look, I have a close equal friend of mine. He told me about one night he went out. He went out with his sister and 3 of her female friends. Now, these female friends were talking to my equal friend. Actually, showing me a picture of them. They're in their late 30s. They're passably attractive. They're average. I mean, they weren't ugly. They weren't particularly attractive. They're passably attractive, but nothing to write home about either. They were talking to my equal friend, and all of a sudden, a 6'4" Chad comes in. Now, what do you think happened? Those 3 women who were friends of my equal friend's that were friends of my equal friend's sister, put all the attention to the Chad, and my equal friend just basically came invisible, totally invisible, and my equal friend was telling me he overhear these women talk. Oh, they said, oh, how can we introduce ourselves to this Chad? You know, oh, he's so hot. He's so hot. Can someone introduce us to him? So, yeah, if multiple groups of women are going to be interested in a guy, it's going to be a Chad. I mean, it's and I hate to look. Sorry, I hate to bring this up. I hate to bring this up again. It's like my Chad friend on the cruise. He had tons of women after him, and women do it in real. They do it all the time, and it's been going on for a while. It's nothing new, guys. A friend of mine, he lives overseas now, and he used to live in a neighbouring street from where I live, and across the road, he used to have a neighbour that used to be a former professional soccer player. He played for Australia a couple of times, and this former professional soccer player, you could call him a Chad, about 6'2", 6'3", pretty athletic guy, good body, full head of hair, pretty. He was a Chad, and in the mid 1980s, I saw him with 2 women on each arm, both hot blonde Stacys. So multiple groups of women will share a Chad. Oh yeah, there are Chads out there that've got harems of women. Yeah, it goes on. Multiple groups of women, and just go back to the cruise. I mean, even though the cruise that I went on with my Chad friend back in 1992, even though women outnumbered men, roughly by a ratio of say 2 to 1, all the women were just chasing those top guys, including my Chad friend. Like I said in my previous video about that, there was one morning on the cruise, he was in the toilet, and I went to go answer a knock of the door on the cabin we were sharing, and 3 women for asking for it. 3 women, not just one, 3 of them. So women will share a high value man. That's usually, it's always going to be your Chad or your very good looking guy.
If they don't compete amongst themselves, they're happy that their friend is interacting with a guy who is making her feel attracted, and they want it to happen because they can see that you're an attractive guy. They're feeling it. They're enjoying the interaction with you, and they can see that their friend is attracted to you. So it's all good. They get right out of the way. And in many cases, they encourage and help the pickup to happen. So in terms of this comment here, there's a clue as to what the guy may be doing wrong based on how he has written his comment here. He said, the female who is bad is the woman, and the female who he likes is the lady. Because that suggests, in almost all cases, that the guy is placing her on a pedestal above him, and he is looking at her as this special lady who's so innocent and needs to be treated like she is made of fragile glass, and he needs to say and do everything right in order to hopefully get a chance with her, when what she really wants to be able to feel like is a real woman around him. And a woman feels like a real woman around you if you're able to make her feel feminine and girly in comparison to your approach to her. So
well, this is PUA cope and BS that, if you can somehow press the right emotional buttons on a woman, you'll get her to be attracted to you. Look, the only emotional response you're going to elicit from a woman, particularly if you're unattractive, is that of repulsion and disgust. You're not going to create any attraction. That's the only emotional response you're going to elicit from a woman being an unattractive man. That is of disgust and repulsion. That's how you're going to make her feel.
with this particular guy, her friend saying she's not interested, creep, go away, that will have happened for one of three reasons. One, he encountered that 1 in a million case where her friend is a really bad, toxic woman and has said something like that to him in a rude way when it wasn't even applicable, right? Maybe the girl did like him. Or two, he has not been able to read the woman's signals of disinterest, and he's interacting with her in a way that's not causing her to feel attracted.
Oh, God. This guy goes on with some nonsense. Look, if a woman thinks you're a cripple, it's because she thinks you're a cripple. That's usually because you're not physically attractive. When Chad does it, it's not creepy, but when an average to below average looking guy does it, it is creepy. Look, a woman thinks you're creepy. Well, she's obviously rejecting you. So, if that happens, just politely thank the woman for a time, just walk away. These things she's put up on the screen, very nervous, self-doubting, insecure, needy. This guy's just shaming guys, particularly unattractive guys. Well, there's a very valid reason why men get very nervous when they attract a woman, or especially cold approach a woman, because what's happening is you and I speak from personal experience. You cold approach a woman, and obviously you're observing her body language, and once you observe that body language is dismissive, combative, or hostile, like she's giving you dirty looks, you just see it in their facial expressions. You can see it in their eyes. You do get nervous because you're saying to yourself, "Oh, this interaction is going bad. I'm going to be publicly humiliated. I'm going to be rejected, and possibly very harshly." So what happens then? You go into fight or flight mode. You go, "Oh shit! What do I do now?" Look, all I can say is if that happens to you, just politely thank the woman for a time and just leave her alone. Don't escalate the situation. That's what I did when I this is a long time ago. When I last tried to cold approach a woman, and if I detected any bad body language, I said, "Sorry, body lady. You have a good night," and walk away. That's all you can do. And there's also a reason why people self-doubt themselves. Well, I self-doubt myself, and of course, I've had no luck with women. Well, of course, you're going to self-doubt yourself. What did you expect?
She's showing him that she's not interested, but he keeps coming at her trying to get something. So
yeah, don't do that. I mean, if a woman rejects you, just politely thank her for a time and leave her alone. Don't go back. I mean, you watch a lot of these PUA videos, particularly those idiots, those PUA idiots that do that day game nonsense. The woman's rejecting them. And sometimes, look, to be fair, some of these women are very ladylike about it, but these idiots go back. When a woman says no, she means no. There's no grey area in that word. There's no ambiguity in the word no. Just, a woman knocks you back, politely thank her for a time and leave her alone. Don't go back. That's stupid. I mean, you could really get yourself in some real legal hot water if you harass a woman. I believe back in 2019, a Scottish PUA got sent to jail for 2 years for cold approaching women. Now, look, I don't know exactly what he did, but he got 2 years in the big house. So yeah, you need to be very just don't cold approach women, guys. It's not a good idea.
Her friend then tries to intervene to say something a bit harsh to get the guy to go away because he can't read the signals of disinterest from the woman, that she's not interested. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand that he needs to be able to make a woman feel attracted.
Look, he has made a good point there. You have to read the signals. You have to read the body language. This is one thing that really gives me the shits about pickup artists. They don't talk about body language. Body language is the most powerful form of non-verbal communication that two human beings can have with each other. It is. Most of my rejections were body language ones. It didn't even get to the stage for me to ask the woman out for her to say no. I already knew it'd been rejected just by observing the hostile body language. And it's not hard to pick up, guys. It really isn't. And yeah, you've got to read the body language. Yeah.
And then she'll open up, and he's just trying to get something based on talking to her and being nice or bragging about his achievements or whatever he may have been doing. And the woman is just not feeling it, right? Because he's not actively making her feel any attraction.
You can't make her feel any attraction if it's not there in the bloody first place. Jeez, this guy goes on with some bullshit. You can't create it. She's either physically attracted to you or she isn't. And if she isn't, game over.
Or number 3, the woman didn't actually say that. Right? So there are some cases where a guy leaves a comment on my channel and he may exaggerate how bad the woman was in what she said, or he may just make something up based on what his fear is, right? So his fear is that if he goes over and talks to a woman and she has a friend, her friend's going to say, "Go away, creep," and they're going to say bad things to him. So it's possible.
Well, that could theoretically happen. I mean, it's never happened to me, but it could happen. Yeah, absolutely. But she doesn't have to verbalize that. You can just see it in their facial expressions. I made the mistake of cold approaching a group of women. I don't know how I did it, and yeah, I didn't get a good response. I mean, they didn't say "go away, you creep," but I could just see it in their facial expressions, the dirty looks. I mean, if death stares could kill, we wouldn't be having this conversation because I'd be 6 foot under pushing up daisies. Yeah, I've had some really bad, dirty looks from women. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, some women can reject you harshly. I've never, like, as I've said many times before, no woman when they're rejected, no woman's ever cussed at me, assaulted me, or threatened me with assault. I don't give them a reason to. If I can see that interaction's going bad, I would just politely thank the woman for a time and just walk away. That's all you can do, and that's what you should do. You're a fool if you keep persisting and hanging around. Yeah.
Possible that the guy didn't actually interact with a woman and get that response. It's just a fear of his. The thing is, these days, a lot of men mistakenly believe that a man has to be 6 foot or taller and perfectly muscular in order to attract a woman because...
Well, no, it's not a mistake at all, because the modern woman is pretty much mostly interested in the top 5% of guys in terms of looks. Now, I'm not saying that the remaining 95% of guys are going to miss out altogether. No, but it just means the remaining 95%, got to fight over the scraps. And if you're, say, like in the bottom, say 30% of men like me, for example, game over, dude. It's just not going to happen. It's cruel, but it's just fact of life. Life isn't fair. Unfortunately, if you are in that bottom 30%, and if you can't look smash your way out of it, and it's pretty much impossible. Once you're in the bottom 30% of guys, it is in many regards virtually impossible to look smash your way out. If you're the bottom 30%, it's going to be tough, really tough. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'd rather be honest with people rather than give people false hope based on blind optimism. Yeah. Anyway.
Because there are a lot of crazy videos flying around on TikTok and on YouTube, and also with dating apps where women have the power. They do expect men to be tall, and they do expect men to be good looking because, for example, on Tinder, 75% of the users are men. So women have all...
I heard it's much higher than that. I mean, it's a sausage fest. I read somewhere that in terms of gender ratios, there's 9 men for every 1 woman. So it's more like 90% male, 10% female. I believe it. Yeah, all the dating sites are sausage fests, massive sausage fests. But what difference does it make whether a woman sees you on an app, on a dating or an app, or in person? She's still going to see what she's still going to have to see what you look like. I think what the PUAs are trying to push is that if you meet women in real life, you can try and win them over with your personality. Theoretically, that could happen, but still, most of the time you've got to pass that looks test. You really do, regardless whether you're on a dating site app. Regardless whether you're on a dating site or app or in real life, you still got to pass that looks test with a woman.
the power. They have all the choice, and therefore they can be picky like that. Yet,
No, they can absolutely. When women have just got a smorgasbord of men to choose from, and obviously with the internet, the dating market has been globalized. So women they've got their choice on steroids, absolute steroids. I'll give you an example. In December 2011, I went to one of my favorite mature age brothels, and I picked this lady. Look, just I was 43 at the time. Should have been close to 50. Should have been on the chubby side, but she wasn't bad looking. After we had sex, I was making a bit of small talk with her, and we were talking about dating and stuff like that. And she told me that when she was a member of a dating site, over a 3-month period or 12 weeks, she received 3,000 messages. 3,000 messages. And I said to her, "Did you find any of those guys attractive?" She goes, "No." I was going to argue the point with her, but I didn't want to cause a scene. I said, "Okay." But I'm saying to myself, 3,000 guys, and she didn't find one of them attractive. I mean, modern women are picky as shit. They are. Their standards just gone through the roof. But the crazy thing is, even the unattractive, even the average to below average women are picky as hell. Yeah, so the modern dating, modern dating, the dating game is totally rigged in favour of them. It is. I'm sorry, it is. And I can see why a lot of guys are giving up because you're playing a rigged game. And then once again, with regards to giving up on dating, that's entirely your decision. But I can see why a lot of guys are dropping out. I mean, what's that old saying? The best winning move to the best winning move to win a game that's rigged against you is simply not to play. Just yeah, that's the best winning move. Just don't play. Yeah. Anyway.
in real life, pretty much any guy, regardless of height, weight, or appearance, does have a chance to attract women.
No, he doesn't. No, absolutely not. Unfortunately, some men, unfortunately, I'm one of them, are just so physically unattractive. No amount of self-work will make them attractive to women. Chances are these poor guys, they'll never have a meaningful relationship with a woman. Look, they could theoretically get lucky, and some of them do, but most guys in that situation, unfortunately, I'm in that, they're going to have their genes weirded out of the gene pool. And look, it's sad. Life's unfair. What can you do about it? If you're in that situation, you've given up on dating, like me, for example. Look, you can still. I mean, your life's not over. I mean, your dating life is. All you have to do, going to have to do is just try to find meaning and purpose in your life outside your rotten luck with the ladies, and it can be done. I'm doing it. I mean, my lack of luck with women does get me down, but I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to go out and approach more women, get rejected, and just damage your mental health. It's not worth it, guys. It really isn't. But no, not every guy's going to get a woman. I mean, we often hear that cliched old saying, "Oh, there's someone for everyone." No, there isn't. I'm sorry, there isn't. No, some guys are going to miss out. It's sad, and it's not their fault.
If he can display some emotionally attractive traits such as confidence, charm, or...
But you can only be as confident with a woman as she allows you to be. And once again, confidence is a byproduct of success. How the hell are you supposed to be confident when you have no success? Oh, jeez.
humor, or flirting, or assertiveness, or untamed energy, and so on. There are so many traits that a man can display that overall...
Okay, he's gonna try. This PUA scammer's trying to downplay the importance of looks by by pushing the iffy doofy cope. Okay, this couple here. Look, the dude on the left, he's not really ugly. He just needs to do a bit of soft looks. Just needs to lose some weight, and he'll be fine. Yeah, so this is not really a good example. The dude on the left is just overweight, some soft looks maxing, and he's probably a pretty good looking dude. So this is not probably a good example.
Ride the fact that he doesn't have big muscles, money, or height. Now, it doesn't mean that a man who isn't...
Look, you got to understand the circumstance of these relationships. I bet my two balls, the guys in these photos are rich, right? When you're rich, women tend to conveniently forget what you look like. They're probably just gold diggers. Yeah.
6 foot tall and handsome can pick up any woman in the world, but every guy does have a chance to attract women. These days, many guys assume because of what's been happening on.
Here we go. More of the oofy doofy code. Once again, we have to understand the circumstances of these relationships. Is there money involved? Yeah.
Dating apps that if a guy is short, for example, then he has no chance and women are going to say, go away, creep. But the reality is that short guys who.
Okay, looking at these three couples, well, no, these guys aren't that bad looking. God, if these guys are considered below average, God, I must be the Elephant Man or the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I mean, the three gentlemen in this photo. They have some very, very attractive girlfriends or wives, especially the gentleman on the left. And yeah, they're very attractive ladies. They're all very attractive ladies. But then again, these dudes aren't that ugly themselves. God, if these guys are roofy doofy, then I'm the Elephant Man. Then I am a sub 3 sub hit. Yeah, but these aren't good examples either because these dudes aren't that bad looking. I mean, they're batting above their league, but they're not that ugly either. So yeah, no, not once again, not good examples.
Know how to attract women, get laid, and get a girlfriend easily. The same goes for men who are the same.
Okay, well, the dude on the left, he's not ugly. The bald cell, I don't know. Maybe she's an escort, or maybe she's a gold digger and this dude's rich. But I think the guy on the right, I think it's money. Yeah, it's got to be.
Height as the woman or approximately the same height. You don't have to be a 6-foot model or muscular man to attract and pick up women in real life.
No, but it helps. And look, the three, it's hard to tell with the guy in the middle because you can't see his face, but these dudes aren't ugly. So that, once again, bad examples.
Life. So the thing is, a lot of guys have a fear of a woman potentially saying, go away, creep, because he's not a 6-foot tall, handsome man. Yet I can tell you, as someone who's approached thousands of women, and if you're wondering how I approach thousands of women, just think about me taking new guys out every weekend for 3 years and showing them how to approach women all night. And prior to that, approaching and picking up so many women and mastering that era of my life before I started.
Look at these photos. I mean, they can be, it's not hard to pay a woman to appear with you in a photo. I think he's trying to use this as evidence. Yeah, I mean, look, it's not hard to pay women to appear with you in a photo. That's what all these PUAs do to trick their customers. They'll pay some girls to appear in a photo to say, oh, look, I picked these women up. Not necessarily.
Teaching. So as someone who's approached thousands of women, I haven't ever gotten that response from a woman, and my clients, regardless of their looks or confidence level, didn't get that reaction from a woman, because the approach that I teach and that I recommend that you use is that you don't go over trying to pick up a woman and just trying to get a result with her, because she will sense that and her guard will go up. Her friends will sense it, and if they notice that their friend isn't feeling comfortable, then they're going to try to start to block you out of the group.
But excuse me. The reason you've gone up to is because you are interested in that. So this is where this PUA contradict himself. So you say, "Oh, don't go up with a woman with the intent of picking her up," but then he tells you to go to run game on them. He's contradicted himself.
So all you need to do is just go over and be social and not try to pick women up, but display traits that trigger romantic and sexual attraction inside of women, and they automatically drop their guard.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They'll only drop their guard if they like you, if you chat. If they're physically attracted to you, they might drop their guard. But if they're not attracted to you, they'll keep their guard up. Believe me, they will.
They automatically want to interact with you because they're feeling attracted. And if they're single and wanting to meet someone, they want to meet a lover, boyfriend, or potential husband. And if they're feeling attracted, they open up to you. They want that. They're not going to tell you to go away if they're feeling attracted to you, because that's what they want. They want to find a guy that makes them feel attracted. Most guys who go over and talk to a woman and try to get somewhere, which is actually a very small percentage. If you go out to a bar or club and just pay attention, you'll notice that most guys just stand around looking at women, and it's a small percentage of guys who actually walk over and talk to women.
Yeah, can you blame them? Can you blame guys for not approaching women? Who wants to cold approach a woman, get get rejected and humiliated. I mean, as I said in my speed rejection video, yeah, when guys approach, regardless whether it's a speed rejection or a nightclub or a bar or whatever singles function, it's a public humiliation ritual, and guys don't want to do it anymore. They've got rejection fatigue. You know, what guys do try and approach women in nightclubs and bars, I don't know. I mean, I think they're foolish. All they do is just get rejected and rejected again, and that's just going to make them depressed, and it's going to damage their mental health. So why do it? Well, there's a very good reason why guys don't approach women anymore. I don't blame them. You know, false harassment charges, false charges, think gets you being called a creep, being humiliated. Why? Stuff it.
But in almost all cases, they don't know how to do it right. They're going over and they're being really nice to the woman and they're having a boring conversation about...
Well, how you're supposed to be when you approach a woman, be abusive. Yeah. Once again, you don't approach a woman unless she gives you the green light to do so.
What do you do? Where you're from? Do you have brothers and sisters and so forth? And just having a neutral, get along with type of conversation. Or the guy is drunk and the women can see that and he's slurring all over the place. Or the guy is trying to show off and brag about his achievements and trying to hopefully impress the women with things like that. And they can sense the insecurity and desperation from him. But it's actually very rare for a guy to come over and just be social, be a normal guy, but at the same time be displaying traits that trigger sexual...
This is all cope. I don't know. These PUAs just go with all this nonsense. Once again, their whole premise is if you can somehow press the right emotional buttons on a woman, that they will get her to overlook your physical shortcomings and get it to be attractive. It doesn't work. It simply just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah, she has to find you physically attractive, and you have to wait to get the choosing signals from her. You can't just go cold approach women, no matter how well how well you do it. It's cold approaching women just doesn't work, guys. It just doesn't work.
And romantic attraction inside of women. And when you do that, women's guard immediately comes down. They're excited, they're happy to be interacting with you, and they want to be with you. So to summarize here, in terms of how do you handle that friend, the woman who stops you from talking to the woman that you're interested in, what do you need to do? Well, rather than trying to handle her and try to get her out of the way and try to deal with her bad behavior and so forth, just bring out a different side of her by interacting with them in a social, easygoing way and display attractive traits that trigger attraction inside of them. So
the only attractive this trait you can display to them is your bloody looks. That's why guys should looks max. I mean, obviously try and looks max as much as you can. That's an attractive trait to display to them, your looks, because that's the thing she's either going to pre-select you or reject you on, your looks.
They actually like you being part of the group, right? You're not going into the group trying to take something, trying to get a girl. Instead, you're going into the group and you're adding value to the group or the interaction because you're coming in and making them feel attraction, which is what they want to feel. That's what they want to experience.
How can you make them feel attracted if there's no attraction in the first place? You can't create attraction out of thin air. It's either there or it isn't. Obviously, you can do things to increase that attraction by looks maxing. Really, that's the only thing you can do.
When they're interacting with a guy, and if they're all single, then they're going to start to look at you as a guy that they are interested in sexually and romantically, and they're going to start to consider that. And women can tell when other women are feeling attracted to a guy. They can see the signs, and when women see that, they then start feeling even more attracted to you. And there have been many studies done on this, and the first one I'll mention is when women were shown a man's face and asked to rate how attractive he was. They were then shown another screen telling them that the other women in the study were finding him more attractive, which then caused the women to increase their rating of him. This is not something that men do. It's unique to women. In another study, women were more likely to rate a photo of a man as more desirable if he was presented alongside a female, but men didn't find women more desirable if they were presented alongside a man. So essentially, the woman being with the man caused the other women to assume that he must be attractive, so they then found him more attractive. But that doesn't mean you need to have a woman next to you in order to attract a woman.
I think what he's saying here, PUA's pushed this stuff that, and that is, women find men attractive who other women find attractive. Yeah, but why would they? Why would all those women find you attractive? Because you're good looking. If one woman doesn't, if you're ugly and one woman doesn't find you attractive, well, chances are a whole lot of other women aren't going to find you attractive as well. So yeah.
For example, in this study, it was found that women rate a man as having a good-looking or handsome face if he seems to be displaying the personality traits and behaviors, the emotional traits that women look for, such as confidence and emotional independence. Yet if the same man's face seemed submissive, vulnerable, insecure, self-doubting, and so on, women didn't find his face.
Oh, bullshit. Look, it comes down to your looks, guys. Look, I know it's a very black and white way of looking at male-female intimate relationships, but it's how physically attracted you are. That's what women go for. It's your looks. I mean, all this stuff here is just cope and just a whole lot of mental masturbation.
Handsome or attractive. Once again, this is not the way that men are. It's unique to women. For example, men are actually turned on by submissive, vulnerable, innocent-looking women, as well as confident women. Most men don't really care because initially it's not about the woman's emotional traits, yet for women it is about your emotional traits.
No, it's not. For women, the most important thing, the number one thing that they're attracted to is your looks. Sorry, it is. When you look at their relationship choices, it's looks.
So it's important to understand that a woman's attraction is different to a man's attraction, right? Women have to find out if a man is attractive.
You mean got to find out? They just got to bloody look at him, and then they can see if he's attractive. They don't have to find out; they can just look at him. See, this is another thing. This is another sneaky little thing that PUAs do. They try and make out that it's men who are the more visual gender. They're not. It's actually women, and for good reason, because as we all know, when a woman looks at a guy and she says to herself, if by the offspring I have offspring with this man, I want to pass on the best genetics to any offspring we may have, so they can survive. That's not going to happen with a physically unattractive man. That's going to happen with a Chad. That's not to say that ugly men can't pass on their genes. Yeah, well, they sometimes do, but more often than not, ugly guys have their genes weeded out of the gene pool.
Based on his behavioral traits. So a shortcut that women have always used is to notice if other women are finding him attractive, and then it's less work for them to try to figure out whether the guy is attractive or not, because
for God's sake, I think women can work out pretty quickly if they think you're attractive. They just got to look at you. Look, behaviour plays a part too. Sure, I'm not saying the behaviour, but you've got to pass that looks test first. Yeah, look, other things like like a man's behaviour, yes, that certainly plays a part. I mean, for example, you could be a really good-looking guy, and you could initially attract women, but if you start behaving in a creepy manner, well, you're going to repel that woman. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Other women have already figured that out. So what happens is that when they see...
Here we go, more of the oofy-doofy cope. These photos prove nothing. We don't know the circumstance of these relationships. Is money involved, especially the guy on the right? That's got to be money. There's no way. It looks they're both hot blonde Stacys, but the woman on the right, I think the one on the right, that's got to be a hooker or an escort or a gold digger. On the left, well, that dude's not that hideous. Probably needs to lose a bit of weight. I mean, he's batting above his league, but he's not that hideous. Anyway.
See that other women are finding you attractive, they know that women have figured out that you're attractive, and then they realize that you're one of the rare guys who actually knows how to make women feel attracted.
Bullshit. Rare. You can't make a woman feel attracted to you. See, once again, it's just this PUA nonsense that if you can somehow press the right emotional buttons on a woman, she'll overlook your physical shortcomings and she'll want to sleep with you. It doesn't work that way. Once again, if the only emotional response, or the only emotion that you're going to elicit from a woman who doesn't find you physically attractive is that of repulsion and disgust, not attraction.
You're not just a guy hoping to get lucky, like one of these women going to like me. You're not a guy who's really nervous and nice, sucking up to women. You're not a guy who's bragging about himself and trying to impress women and put on a show. Instead, you're a guy who's naturally making women feel attracted, and they
Oh, the only way you're gonna naturally make a woman feel attracted is if you're attractive. You can't if you're an ugly guy. Say for example, you're a sub 3 subhuman like me. You, you can try all the pickup lines you like. Women are going to be repulsed by you, especially guys like me. This PUA is just talking crap.
They are looking for that. So in almost all cases, they start to compete amongst themselves, but if they don't, then they either get the heck out of the way or they help. And
Okay, the guy on the right, he's not that hideous. The guy on the left, he's not that hideous either. God, if these guys are roofy doofies, they're on the Elephant Man.
encourage the interaction between you and their friend because they know that you're an attractive guy. They see that she's happy, she's feeling the attraction, and they want it to happen. By the way, if you want to learn all of the best ways to make women feel attracted to you as you talk to them, so creating that emotional attraction that then causes.
You can't create attraction if it's simply not there. I don't know what guys fall for this stuff. I mean, this PUA nonsense or premise that if you can somehow press the right emotional buttons on a woman, that they'll get her to overlook your physical shortcomings, it just doesn't work. It really doesn't work. Once again, the only emotion you're going to elicit from a woman who doesn't find you physically attractive is that of repulsion and disgust. Because women make snap judgments on men within milliseconds of seeing a particular guy. If you don't pass that looks test, it's game over. It doesn't matter how much of a smooth talker you are. It doesn't matter how good your so-called game is. Not the game exists. It doesn't exist at all. It's bullshit. It doesn't matter. If she doesn't find you physically attractive, she's going to reject you.
Causes the woman to have sexual and romantic attraction for you, then I recommend that you head over to masterattraction.com. Every month I teach you new traits and.
Anyway, guys, that concludes my reaction video to this PUA scammer, Dan Bacon. I had a look at his channel, and just the stuff that he teaches it's just nonsensical. It's just PUA nonsense. You can't teach attraction. And also, as I said before earlier in this video, what good is this stuff going to be to you if you got nowhere to practice it? As we all know, the nightclub industry is in terminal decline. It's been in terminal decline for the last for decades. Some people blame the pandemic, but that just accelerated the process. It was in decline anyway. And nightclubs are the worst places to try and meet women. Unless you're a Giga Chat or a Chad, forget about it. It's just not going to happen. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening to my reaction video. If you'd like to leave your likes, comment, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon. You guys have a great day. Bye for now.